Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and this is part two of my Karen Reed series, The Aftermath, and why I think lay juries are a problem and why we need professional juries. My first part was called 12 People Off a Bus Stop. And if you haven't seen it, go look at it. Uh, in our country, which requires the highest level of certification and education and training for just about every job, especially the jobs of the people in the courtroom, they want the top, the prosecutor has to have all the credentials. So does the defense attorney. Does every expert walking into the room. And yet, for the jury, no requirements whatsoever. Just bring 12 people off a bus stop and no training in DNA, no training in forensics, no training in physical evidence, no training in statement analysis, no training in circumstantial evidence, no training in any of this stuff. But they're going to make a final decision over the experts in the court. They're going to listen to those experts say, and they're going to figure out which experts are telling the truth, even though they've had, 20 minutes worth of training in their life, which was in the court, where the different sides are trying to actually, essentially, make them believe what they want them to believe, and they're saying different things, and it's like, well, how are they even supposed to know? That's just ridiculous. So. But they do their best. And I'll read my statement again before I start part two here. I'm not at all surprised at the Karen Reed verdict, which has nothing to do with justice, but the ludicrous U.S. system of an untrained civilian jury guessing what the evidence means while under incredible manipulation and pressure from attorneys, media, YouTubers, and an angry mob. And I think they did the best they could, because I can't blame the jury. They were forced into the labor. They were not trained. And they were expected to be able to do a job which they shouldn't be reasonably expected to be able to do. So the second part, I'm going to the next four parts of this series. This one is going to be on a jury of your peers. What does that even mean? The third part is not understanding the totality of evidence, which is a huge problem in the courtroom for the jury. The next one, the fourth part, will be not understanding how things work in the real world, how police work, how any of this stuff actually works, forensics and all that. And number five is going to be, Americans don't actually trust their jury system. And I'm going to show you why that's true. All right, so let's go to a jury of your peers. What the heck are your peers? Now, way back in the days of when all this concept was put together about a jury of your peers, the idea was that the status of the people who are going to determine whether you should go to prison or not would not be the noble people that are so far above you. They would at least be on your level in theory. So consequently, the idea is that they go out to the area in which you live, and they pick 12 people off a bus stop, and then they do a thing called voir dire, which is the defense especially tries to make sure that the people ending up on the jury are going to be very sympathetic to their client, to the defendant. And so they're looking for things that they believe will make those people on the jury the peer of the person who is accused. All right, so what the heck are peers? And the problem we have here is they're supposed to be, quote, regular people. What are regular people? Because if I had to have 12 peers to my house for a dinner party, it probably wouldn't be the 12 peers that would appear in the jury box, because they probably would have nothing in common with me at all. Or maybe two or three of them would, but the others are, not at all my peers. What are my peers? People don't seem to even want to say what that is, because peers come in different forms. It could be, you could consider your peers people who have your same educational level, your same income level, your same lifestyle, your same gender, your same race, your same nationality, your same interests, your political. You got your peers maybe you think your peers all have to be of the same political persuasion or religion. You don't want people in that box who don't understand you. So who doesn't understand you? And is that the whole point of the peers in there? Are the people in the box, the jury, in my opinion, a professional jury, should be looking at the evidence. They shouldn't care one crap about all the rest of the stuff. It's the evidence. Does the evidence prove that this person is guilty, or is the evidence not strong enough to prove this person is guilty? That's all that really matters. But we see quite often emotions take over in the box, the jury box. We see that issues of race, issues of gender, they take over. So the defense attorney knows this. You see, everybody thinks that, oh, everything. So it's all done. It's all proper. The defense attorney is going, okay, I got to get rid of anybody. let's say Diddy, for example. The last people that defense attorney wants in the box with Combs are women who have had some issues with sexual assault or sexual abuse, because they're not going to be his peers. They're going to want a different group of people, maybe swingers. Maybe you should have only swingers in the box for Diddy, because Diddy likes to have these freak offs. So you put in people who are, do you want a church lady in there? Or do you want a rape victim in there? Of course, that's what you try to get rid of. Have you ever get rid of them? Thanked an excuse. Bye-bye. Because I only want people, Mr. Defense Attorney says, that can not be offended by my client. Maybe it's a racial thing. Maybe he will say, I want mostly Black jury members. As a matter of fact, that it just became an issue in the Diddy trial, because one of the jury members that was Black apparently was dumped out of the jury because he did not tell the truth about where he lived, and his replacement is white. I think that leaves the jury of his peers down to 11 people who are white and one person that's Black. Now, is that an issue? And some people will say it's an issue. And I'm pretty sure the Innocence Project will pop up if he gets found guilty and say that was an issue, that those weren't his peers. These were people who didn't understand his lifestyle or his culture. Are they wrong? Well, there you go. That's the problem. What is understood? And where will the emotions go? Where will I feel I can understand the defendant, or I can't understand the victim? We have to understand there's a victim involved in this, and people always forget about that poor victim. It's all about the defendant. The victim doesn't matter anymore. In the case of Karen Reed, really, quite frankly, John O'Keefe doesn't matter anymore. Where were his peers? Oh, I think the Free Karen Reed people say they were off killing him in the house, sicking the dog on him. But that's a matter of opinion that they have. But were there any police officers on the jury? Well, no, I don't think there were. I mean, I may be incorrect now, but you can always down in the comments, you can always attack me like many people do. Understand that this is a YouTube channel. I'm not trying to be, have every single I dotted and T crossed here. I'm trying to put out a point here. So the victim gets often ignored, because the point is that the jury of the peers is for the defendant, not for the victim. So, but if you get people in the jury box who can't relate to the victim, then you can often have them side with the defendant just because they don't relate to the victim. That's another problem. So there we have something where the jury of your peers may not come out to be a matter of justice, but a matter of bias. And that's a problem. And then just because you look at a person and think that's who they are. I happen to be Caucasian, but I happen to have 3 children who are not. I happen to have lived in a community that is not Caucasian, and I happen to have worked in communities that are heavily African American. And so who are my peers? who are my friends? Actually, I have a lot of friends from India. Are we going to stack the jury box of people from India? Because those are my peers. Because maybe they understand me better than does somebody else down the street. I mean, who are my peers? I just don't understand who the heck they are. Except for you can say they're people who live in your general area. That doesn't make them your peers. They're just people who live around you. God knows a lot of times we don't get along with people who live around us, and they don't understand us at all, and they're hardly our peers. But I guess they're not really your peers. The only thing that they're actually saying is a jury of your peers only means that they're not hired by the government. That's it. That's it. A professional jury would be hired by the government. These would be people who are trained. They could still have a lottery for picking them out, for who was going to be at what trial, and they wouldn't pick it would be a lottery. So gender, race, religion, what political stuff wouldn't matter, because you're picking the person to be on each one of these juries randomly, and the person goes there as a professional juror, and they focus on the evidence, and the rest of the stuff doesn't matter. But they would be hired by the government now, wouldn't they? So the only thing I come down to is a jury of your peers simply means that the government doesn't choose the final selection that's in the box. They can put a little input in from the prosecution, but the defense attorney has the stronger input, and so essentially it's weighted. It's weighted toward the defendant by the defense attorney. That's the way it works. And so it's a jury of a bunch of people. Well, 12 people off a bus stop that the defense attorney thinks are going to benefit his client. That's it. And of course, the defendant has the right to be judged properly. The defendant has the right, and God knows if I were that defendant, I would want to have a proper jury that would analyze the evidence, because I wouldn't even want them to focus on me. I don't care if they like me or dislike me. And some people said, "Oh, you just don't like Karen Reed." I can like a defendant and think they're guilty. I can dislike a defendant and think, I can't stand that person, but the evidence shows that they're not guilty. So I don't care what kind of personality the defendant has. I'm focused on the evidence. That's what I'm about. I'm a criminal profiler. It's evidence, evidence, evidence. And if I'm a defendant, I want my jury focused on the evidence. Thank you very much. I don't want them thinking, oh, do I like Pat Brown or not? Or do I understand Pat Brown or not? Or do I like the victim more than Pat Brown? Or do I hate the victim? I mean, I don't want any of that. I don't want racial issues coming in. I don't want politics coming in. I don't want any of that nonsense. Look at the evidence. But a jury of your peers is not about finding 12 people who will only focus on the evidence. It's a very, very odd concept, which I think is one of those concepts that sounds good, but is quite frankly, doesn't mean what people think it means. So that's my thoughts on that. Come back for part 3.